In this video, I want to talk about how something really simple starts to turn into something much bigger. And once you see how it all links together, it just makes so much sense. What looks like one small book on its own actually has the potential to connect to a whole chain of ideas that build on each other in a really natural way. This is where things start feeling more like the foundation of a real self-publishing business, something that can grow over time and turn into a proper business instead of a one-off book here and there. If you are new here, my name is Caroline, and I am a self-publisher who has been creating and selling books on Amazon KDP for over 7 years. And on this channel, I show you how to do the same. In my last couple of videos, we looked at the Learn to Read workbook niche on Amazon, and we saw how early reading is made up of different stages that children move through over time. And today we're taking the next step. And this is a step where everything starts to become more connected, more intentional, and honestly, a lot more exciting because we're moving from the idea of one book into the idea of a full children's educational workbook brand. You are still creating very simple books and you're still working within the same niche, but now you're thinking about how everything links together and how a family might move through your books over time. But before we talk about brands, collections, series, or websites, it really helps to think about how parents actually approach learning to read with their children. Learning to read is not a one-time task that gets ticked off a list. A kid does not learn to read in a few days. It is a very gradual process that unfolds over months and even years. A child starts with very basic skills, as we all know, like recognizing letters and sounds, and then slowly builds up to reading simple words, then sentences, and then eventually full stories. But every stage builds on the one before it. Because of that, parents naturally think in stages. They're looking for something that helps their children right now. And then when their child grows a little bit more confident, they start looking for the next thing. If they find a workbook that feels easy to use and genuinely helpful, they remember that and they come back to it in their mind when they're ready for the next step or the next stage. Parents also really value familiarity. When a book works well for their child, they like knowing what to expect. They like the layout, they understand how the activities are structured, and they feel comfortable sitting down together and working through it. So when they see another book that looks similar and comes from the same publisher, it feels like a safe and logical next choice. This is where the idea of a series and a brand starts to make sense in a very natural way. It matches how learning actually happens in real life. One stage leads to another, and books can be designed to follow that same path. Before any of this can grow into a series or a brand, it starts with choosing one clear place to begin and actually creating that first book. Inside the early reading space, there are lots of different directions that you can go. So picking a focused sub-niche gives you something solid to build from instead of trying to cover everything at once. As an example, one great starting point is CVC Workbooks because they sit right at that early stage where children are just beginning to sound out real words on their own. They're structured, they're easy to understand, and they naturally lead into the next levels later on. These books are targeting the very young preschool and early primary school age of kid, and they focus on 3-letter words that are made up of the first letter being a consonant, the second letter a vowel, and the third letter a consonant. That one book is already useful on its own. A child can practice sounding out short words, and parents can sit down for a few minutes each day and work through it with their child. It fits into that early reading journey in a very practical way. And starting off with a simple, focused book like this gives you a foundation you can build on rather than a one-off book that doesn't connect or isn't related to anything else. When you start thinking in terms of a brand, you begin asking what naturally comes next for that same child. You might create another book at the same general level, but with a different set of words, giving children more practice without suddenly making things too difficult. Then you might create a follow-up level that introduces slightly more challenging word patterns or blends. After that, you might create a book that focuses on reading very short sentences so that children start seeing how words connect to form meaning. Each of these books would feel connected. They would share a similar style, a similar layout, and similar tone. When a parent buys a first one and finds it helpful, they can easily move on to the next book in your series without having to search all over Amazon for something different because you already provide it. This is how a series forms from one simple starting point. And naturally, the next part of the process is creating a brand, because brands create trust and build confidence with customers. And a brand does not need to be complicated. It can be something as simple as choosing a consistent name, a pen name, or a brand name that appears on each of your books, using similar cover layouts and colors, and clearly showing what level of skill each book focuses on. This is a brand of educational workbooks which has really strong branding. They have a couple of different series, and you can clearly see the difference between the two, and you can see which ones are related to each other. The series of Learn to Read activity books, all the covers are similar in design, so a parent can see that they are from the same person. And then there is the Big Book of series, and this series has similar design for each cover, but then just has different levels, different grades, and then also different subjects. So they've got reading comprehension activities, they've got writing skills activities. So they're focusing on a specific subject and then moving through the different grades and levels of that specific subject. And this is exactly how to build a brand or a series. When your books look and feel related, parents can easily see them as part of the same series. This makes it easier for them to come back to your books instead of starting from scratch every time they need something new. Once you have more than one book in your series, you have something worth bringing together in one place where you can provide additional products or offer more content and more value. And that is where a simple website becomes really, really powerful. Amazon is still where your books are sold, your physical books, that is. Your website becomes the home of your brand and where you can start to create additional streams of income from your books. And it also just means that you're not entirely dependent on one platform for visibility or growth. And this is really, really important, since Amazon can change anything it wants about how we publish on its platform or how much royalties they choose to pay us in an instant. Imagine a simple page, a simple website where it shows all your books in order. A parent could land there and then quickly see which books are best for a beginner and which books come next. You could write really nice descriptions that explain what each book helps with and who it might be best for. And this alone just makes your series feel way more organized and easier to trust. You could also include things like a few free printable practice pages that parents can download. This just gives them extra value and lets them experience your style before buying another book. It also creates a natural reason for them to join your email list so that they can hear about your new books or your new resources. Building something like this does not need to be complicated. Using a simple website builder like Hostinger makes it much easier to create a clean, welcoming site without needing any technical skills whatsoever, so that you can just focus on your books and your customers. But let's talk about what this website actually needs to do, because you don't need a complex, complicated website. You don't need any kind of advanced design skills, and you definitely don't need to be technical. You just need a clean, simple home base for your publishing brand, and the first step in that is choosing a domain name, which will most likely match your brand name or your pen name, but also keep in mind you do want something that's a little bit flexible. Avoid naming your website after one specific book. Think broader, think about the niche or the customer that you're serving, not the product itself. You want a name that's still going to make sense if you publish another 20 or 50 books in the future. Then you want to create your website or your home for your brand, and your homepage should make it immediately obvious who the site is for and what problems your books solve. A website is going to help you look more trustworthy, more professional. It'll help build credibility with customers. It allows you to showcase your books all in one place and lay the foundation for things like printable products, additional products, and email lists. This is where Hostinger makes things much easier than they used to be. I'm going to show you how to set up a clean, simple brand website using Hostinger because it is so affordable, beginner friendly, and it makes it really easy to get a website online without needing technical skills. So here's how it works. Go to Hostinger using the link down in the description below. Now, of course, it is the best time to set your website up because they have some incredible New Year's sales that have been extended. And although it will depend on when you're watching this video, They currently have 84% off, plus an additional discount if you use my special code, which is also down in the description box below. Now, we are going to select the business website builder plan because it'll give us access to the AI website builder, which is super important, and the option to add an online store so that we can sell additional products down the track. To get the best possible price, you will want to choose the 48-month plan. As I mentioned, I also have a coupon code that will get you an additional 10% off. So make sure to pop that in before you check out. You can also see here that you do get a free domain name for the first year, plus an extra 2 months of free hosting. Also, just to let you know, Hostinger does have a 30-day money-back guarantee. We'll continue on and we'll just need to fill out some personal details to complete everything, but we are ready to start building our website. And don't worry if you have no idea about how to build a website. This AI website builder makes it so easy. Let me show you. We're just going to go set up our hosting and we're just going to go through and answer a few questions. We're going to be creating a new website. We want to use the Hostinger website builder. You just need to enter the domain name that you'd like to use. And if you have selected the 48-month hosting plan, you will get it free for the first year. And this is where you pop it in and take advantage of that. And it's just to create a professional brand presence that's going to support your self-publishing business. So I'm just going to enter in a brand name. And then I'm also just going to pop in a description of my brand and the kind of books and products that we're going to be selling. I do want to add an online store to my site because, as I've already mentioned, we are going to want to add additional products later on so that we can create additional streams of income. Then we click create a website, and this will take literally 30 seconds. The Hostinger AI website builder will create an entire website for you filled with images, content, everything that you need to get started showcasing your workbook brand to your customers. So it gives us the first version of the website we can have a look through. If you are happy with it, you can continue on. If there are some things you're not sure about or you don't like, we can just create it again, and you can keep doing that until you are happy with the design and the layout of the website that it has built for you. So we have an entire website where we can access an online store and access all the different books that we have available for customers. So we'll continue on and we can start editing parts of the website that we need to. You can customize every part of it. We can change the colors to whatever you want to match your brand. You can change the fonts to match your brand as well. You can create any of the text boxes to match your brand's wording, style, or tone. We can also create new images. If you would like to provide your own images, you can do. Otherwise, you can use the AI image generator to create images for you for any part of your website. You can go add your books and add your Amazon links so that people can go to Amazon and buy your books. You can create a downloads page. We have our online store here, so you can sell your books as digital products, or you can add other products related to your books, and you can add an email sign up. There are a lot of AI tools as part of this that's going to help you create all the content for your website, including blog posts. So if you would like to offer blog articles and content, but don't have the writing skills or don't have the time to create blog posts, the AI blog generator can do that for you. And look, this is where your website really starts working for you. Offer something simple and useful in exchange for an email address, a checklist, a worksheet, or a short guide. And this allows you to build a relationship with customers outside of Amazon and creates long-term value that compounds as your brand grows. One mistake that people make with websites is that they think that everything needs to be perfect before they launch. It doesn't. Your website will evolve as your business evolves. You can add pages later. You can change wording later. You can change images later. You can refine your brand as you grow. This Hostinger AI website builder is incredibly easy to use, and it is built for people who want something quick, clean, and professional. If you do want a website that looks good without any of the tech stress, Hostinger's AI website builder is perfect for beginners, and I will leave the link down in the description box below so that you can go check it out. Now, once you have a small series and a simple online home, there are many natural ways that this can grow. You can create printable PDF activity packs that go deeper into certain skills. You can send bonus worksheets to your email subscribers. You can create themed bundles of related books so that parents can easily buy them all together. I want to show you an example of something actually pretty amazing, but that you can build for yourself. Now, one of the most popular books on Amazon is this, My First Learn to Write Workbook. This book was originally self-published and it did well, better than well, for so many years, and it was eventually bought out by a publisher. But this book has consistently sat in the top 100, a lot of the times in the top 50 and the top 10 of all books on Amazon for years and years and years. The person who created this book, Crystal Radke, she built herself a website to help her get her book out there and to help parents and children learn and have fun with learning. And she also sells additional complementary products which provide her with additional streams of income. So we have her physical products that she's selling on Amazon, but then she has a whole heap of downloadable, printable products that parents can buy directly from her website. So if one of the hundreds of thousands of people who have gone to Amazon and bought her book, they know that they can now come here and they can come and buy all these different products directly from her website. And all of this builds on the same core idea, which is just helping children move through early learning stages in a clear and supportive way. Instead of jumping between unrelated ideas, you stay focused on one pathway and extend it step by step. To make this even more concrete and to just really push my point home about this niche, let's take a look at an example of a real children's educational workbook brand on Amazon. This is a brand that has built a series of books that support early learning, including reading skills. And it shows exactly what it looks like when someone thinks beyond just one title. And this brand is self-published. It is incredible. This is the self-publisher here. And I want you to really take notice of the branding and the types of books they have published. When you land on this brand's books, the first thing you notice is that there are multiple books, not just one or two. They actually have hundreds of books published. They haven't just done a one-off random book and then that is it. There is a range of books that cover different skills and different levels. Some are for early learners, others are for children who are a little bit older and more confident, but they all sit under the same general theme of helping kids learn important foundational skills. Now, take a look at the covers. Even without reading a single word on them, you can see that these books belong together. The colors, the layouts, the fonts, and the overall style feel connected. When a parent buys one of these books and later sees another book with similar look and feel, it immediately feels familiar. They know who these books are from. That familiarity brings trust, especially when it comes to resources for their children. Now next, look closely at the titles and the subtitles. Notice how clearly each book explains what it focuses on. Instead of vague or overly creative names that kind of just confuse customers, the titles usually make it very, very obvious what skill or level the book supports. And this helps parents. It helps parents quickly understand which book suits their child right now and which ones might be helpful later on. Now, when we preview the interiors of these books, you'll often see the structure is also consistent across the brand. The pages follow clear patterns, the instructions are simple, and the layouts are not cluttered. There is a sense that these books are built to actually be used, not just looked at. So when you see that kind of structure repeated across multiple books, it becomes clear this isn't random. This is someone building a pathway of learning step by step. The pathway is the key idea, not random books, a connected journey. And then just take a look at these bestseller ranks. The bestseller rank tells us how popular a book is with Amazon's customers, and popular meaning whether they buy it or not. So these books here, they have bestseller ranks of 1,200, 918, 2,300, 2,800. These are some of the best-selling books on Amazon, and they have multiple bestsellers. These two books alone, with bestseller ranks around 1,000, are making around $6,000 per month, and they have hundreds of different books that are selling. Now, this is something that they have built up over the last few years. They didn't do this overnight, but I really hope you can see the potential of what you can build up to over time. So how do you get to this stage? Like this brand that is making tens of thousands of dollars every single month in royalties. Let's break down what this brand is doing really well, because these are all things that you can apply to your own books and to your own brand. First, there is consistent visual identity. The covers feel related, which help parents recognize other books from that same self-publisher without having to think too hard about it. Second, there is clarity in the way the books are positioned. Every title makes it easy to understand what the book is for and where it fits in a child's learning journey. And that clarity makes decision making so much easier for parents. Third, the interiors are simple and structured. The focus is on helping children practice skills in a clear and repeatable way. There is no unnecessary complexity. And finally, there is more than one book. This brand is not relying on a single title to do everything. It's offering a collection, a series of books that supports different stages of learning. And all of this is achievable without a big team or advanced design skills. It just comes down to structure, consistency, and thinking in terms of stages, not just one-off books. When you look back at this brand that we've just explored, you can see that this kind of collection, this kind of brand builds gradually. One book leads to another, and each one fits into the bigger picture. This is very achievable as a self-publisher because these books are structured, they're focused, and they're built around real learning stages. You're creating resources that family use in real life every single day. Now, going back to my last video, in that last video, we really dove deep into educational workbooks and specifically the Learn to Read workbook niche, because we can really only start to move forward once we understand the niche. Go and check that video out now if you haven't seen it already, because it is really important to understand the niche. And hopefully now you can see how one simple book can grow into this connected educational brand with multiple books and its own little online home. This kind of step-by-step growth helps you create something that feels solid, it will feel helpful and meaningful, as well as building a real profitable self-publishing business for yourself. And it all begins with one clear focus and one clear book. Now, if you did enjoy this video, YouTube thinks that you might like these ones too. So please go check them out to learn more about self-publishing your own low and medium content books on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.